Recently, I read a story about a lady, an undergraduate in the higher institution. She got pregnant in school, and in order for her to hide it from her parents, she decided not to go for any of the semester breaks. She kept the pregnancy for 9 months. After she has given birth to a baby, she took the baby and put the baby inside a polythene bag and bought a bike. She asked the bike man to speed up on a very busy highway, and she dropped the baby in that process. An incoming car ran over the child, and pedestrians that were drawn to the scene of the incident, when they saw the incident, they came and discovered that it was a baby inside a polythene bag that has just been crushed. Oh God. It was really a heartbreaking situation. They ran after the lady, and she was arrested and taken to the police station. And when she got to the police station, she narrated the whole story. This brings us to the topic, the bitter truth about sex. One of the greatest gifts given to humanity by God is the gift of sex, or the act of sexual intercourse. This gift is also one of the most abused or misused gifts by people of all races and tribes. God Himself ordained the act of sex, but only in marriage. The Bible stated this in the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 24. In that passage of the Bible, God ordained what we call today marriage, the coming together of a man and a woman to make a home. One of the first purposes for the relationship between a man and a woman is for companionship. The Bible says, "And God said, for it is not good for a man to be alone. I will make him a helpmeet." The command to be fruitful and to replenish the earth came after the challenge of man's loneliness was handled by God. So God has the companionship of man in His agenda. We can look this up in Genesis chapter 2 verse 18 and verse 24. I want you to understand that nobody fights without a purpose. The reason the devil is after your life with the sin of immorality is because he wants you to defile your body, which is the temple of the living God. The Bible stated in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 19 that our bodies are the temple of the Lord, and the Spirit of God dwells in us. Satan is aware that when he succeeds in pushing you into sin, one of the things you stop enjoying is the presence of God. Don't forget that it is the presence of God that makes all the difference. It is a luxury you can't afford to miss for a second. In Exodus chapter 33 verse 15 to 18, Moses was talking with God and he said, "Oh God, if your presence will not go with us, please don't take us any further." He said, "Wherein shall we be distinguished from other nations, if not that your presence goes with us?" The word sex or sexy is being associated with almost anything in our world today. This is because of the perverse nature of man's heart and thoughts. People don't seem to understand the actual meaning of sex. One of our spiritual fathers, by the name Miles Monroe, defined sex as a physical sign of a spiritual act, the giving of oneself completely to another and for another. He stated this from the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 24. When somebody dress up and look good, people say the person is looking sexy. If you wear a good perfume, you have a beautiful eyes, legs, lips, all is said to appear sexy. One day I was walking under a very hot sun, and a guy walking behind me said, "Today's sun is not sexy at all." Almost every advertisement on our billboard today is associated with a complete or a half-naked woman being projected at the center of the advert. Sometimes you are tempted to ask, what is the connection between a naked or a half-naked woman with the advert of a soft drink or a toothpaste. Like Christ will say on the cross, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." But in our world today, those promoting nudity know what they are doing. Satan is aware that the man God made to be the foundation of the human race, the father in the home, the husband to his wife, the role model to his children and other people around the world he is supposed to impact positively, the leader in every area and level of life he finds himself, is sight-oriented. This means that man is moved by what he sees and attracted to what is beautiful. In the book of Genesis chapter 2, when God created all the animals and brought them to Adam to see what he would call them, the Bible recorded that he named all the animals, but no one looked suitable to be called Eve, even animals like chimpanzee and apes. In verse 23 of chapter 2, the Bible recorded that when God created the woman, he brought her to Adam, and Adam exclaimed, "Here is someone like me. She is part of my body, my own flesh and bones. She came from me, a man, so I will name her woman." I want to let you know that it is not wrong to be attracted to the opposite sex, because that is the makeup of a man. The sin therein is when you go against the ordained plan of God for the both sexes. Whether you commit a sin in your heart or the physical act of immorality, it is against God's will. That's why the Bible advises us to control our bodies. That is stated in Galatians chapter 5 verse 16 to 19. Let me say this to the ladies and to the women. Most times, you come out of your house well dressed in your own eyes, probably because you are just following the fashion of the day. Some of you do it without malice in your heart. Others know what they are up to. Some ladies wear those clothes just to attract men. But the truth of the matter is, a lady that dresses up like that can only attract a man that has not discovered his purpose for living. The Bible says that the man is the head of the family, as Christ is the head of the church. The devil is aware that the head of the family, the man, is moved by what he sees, and so he's empowering the fashion industry, music industry, the media, and every other possible medium as a weapon against the righteousness of man. He knows that when the head is weak, the body, which is the family, and the nation at large will be defenseless. When you take a look into the world of fashion today, all you see are revealing clothes, short gowns, and all kinds of clothes that attacks morality and decency. It is so bad that even in our religious bodies today, the ladies have refused to understand that they are being used by their arch enemy to achieve his aim. When you go for weddings today, all you see is people dressed up as if they are going for a nightclub or a party. A piece of advice to the guys: please, when you go for a gathering where you have a lot of ladies, whether in the church or in a lecture hall or wherever, please don't look back. And if you need to look back, don't look down, because if you do, you may lose concentration in the service or the lecture or whatever took you to that place. Some pastors are very much aware of the above fact, and that is why they give instructions to the ushers not to allow ladies or those that are not properly or decently dressed to sit on the front row. Some that are more careful are concerned about the kind of people they employ as a personal assistant, secretaries, and even those that work in their homes. This is because the only sin the Bible commands us to run away from is sexual sin. When people read the account of Esau, how he sold his birthright in the book of Genesis, they just believe and know that he was very hungry. That is why he did that. But in the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 16, the Bible says, Watch out for immoral and ungodly people like Esau, who sold his future blessings for only a meal. Verse 17 says, you know how he later wanted it back, but there was nothing he could do to change things, even though he begged his father and cried. I need you to ask yourself, how many times have I sold my future blessings for 5 minutes pleasure? Some others for a plate of ice cream or a plate of Indomie in an expensive or an executive lodge of a hotel. Can you state the worth of your dignity, the price of your body, which is the temple of God and the Spirit of God dwells in you? Some go to the point of dating men too old to be their father, too fearfully made to be their husband, and too purposeless enough to be the father of their unborn children. One of my pastors will always say that if you attracted a guy with your standing breast, be ready to keep that breast standing, because the very day your breast lost its self-esteem, the same man will go out and look for another available standing breast that is better than yours. Somebody may ask, what is a godly appearance? It is an appearance that does not draw people away from God to sin. It does not teach people negative, ungodly values. It does not invest people with lust. When it meets the purpose of dressing, which is the covering of nakedness, then we'll say it is a godly appearance. Any appearance that does not have consideration for others is not good. Any appearance which will not give you the boldness to preach Christ anytime and at all time is not godly. Remember the saying that you are addressed the way you dress. In the book of Isaiah chapter 43 verse 21, the Bible says, these people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise. The big question is, with the way you dress, can God look at you and still say, I formed this one for myself, and he or she is showing forth my praise? Or does God look at you and is asking or wondering, or maybe asking Jesus, is this one part of the people you shed your blood for? Most times when we talk about indecent dressing, some people will say it doesn't concern me. But it will concern you when that daughter of Jezebel steals your husband away because he is attracted to what he sees. It will concern you when your teenage daughter is impregnated by a rapist, or maybe because she appears sexy, as the word will say. You will become a preacher of decent dressing when your teenage undergraduate son comes back home with the family of his teenage girlfriend who is with a child. Please start fighting that cankerworm now that you can conquer it easily before it spreads too far. If not, you will start to beat your assistant wives on the road when you see a 19-year-old girl with your husband in a hotel touching his 60-something years old gray hair. Some of such men, their last one is like 25 years old and maybe doing his or her degree in the higher institution, but you see them messing up their lives with teenage undergraduates or teenage girls. Somebody may want to ask, when is the right time to start training a child, especially in regard to matter of sex? I want to answer the above question by telling a little story. Some times ago I went to visit a close relative, and the little daughter that is like a year old was playing on the ground, and I decided to pick her in my arms, and I was telling her playfully that I missed you. And the elder one that is like 3 years said to me, Uncle, so you missed her and you love her, why don't you kiss her? Wow, I was really surprised. Another day again we were in the house, and the first child of the house, a boy who is like 7 years old, asked the mother, Mommy, Where do babies come out from? We're just laughing in the house, and the younger sister that is less than 6 pointed downwards and said, "Babies, come out of this place." You know, it was really surprising to us. So parents, I want to throw back this question to you by saying, when do you think is the right time for you to teach your child sex education? You know, I want you to cast your mind back and remember how painful it was when somebody took advantage of your innocence, when you were too naive to really know the consequences of going into the act of sexual sin because nobody taught you, so you were not aware, and somebody took advantage of you. Remember how you cried, how you felt as if you were used and abused and dumped. Are you ready for your child to go through the same situation in life? Some parents are so ignorant of this truth, and they're not aware that what they're afraid of teaching their children, they have learnt it one way or the other beyond what they are supposed to know at a tender age. Parents, I want to ask you, are you ready to teach your children sex education, or would you prefer the internet or the social media, TV stations, peer groups, that senior students on the campus waiting to catch them young, or that house help that does not have the interest of your family at heart to do your job for you? Please, build the future of these children by teaching them this truth. And I know, as the Bible says, that when you train up a child in the way he should go, he will not depart from it. That verse of the Bible is so misunderstood by so many people that they thought the Bible only say preach to them. But it encompasses even this truth. When you teach children this truth about sex, they will know how to go about it when it confronts them. But when they are not equipped for the war in our world today, they will be victims instead of victors. I want to say this to the young people that are listening to me. What are you cultivating? To cultivate means to multiply, to make better. When a young lady comes in contact with you, she should leave a better person than she came. She may try to come on too strong, vulgar, like a prostitute. Yet when she leaves, she should walk away a lady. If someone asks her, "What happened to you?" she should be able to say, "I met a man who told me he wouldn't sleep with me. He wouldn't degrade me. Why? Because he respects me." Cultivate these young ladies. Don't drag them down, and don't let them drag you down. A young woman shouldn't leave your presence pregnant. She should live with her dignity and her virginity. Give these young women some good soil. Give them something to make them better. That is really what makes a man a real man. Young people, don't allow anybody to deprive you of God's plan for your life with just 5-minute pleasure. And what is God's plan for your life? In Jeremiah chapter 29 verse 11, the Bible says, "I will bless you with a future filled with hope, a future of success, not of suffering." It says, "Young man, run away from any woman who offers herself to you." That is in Proverbs chapter 6 verse 26. And I believe this applies even to the young women too. Run away from any man that will deprive you of God's plans for your life. The Bible says, "A woman who sells her love can be bought for as little as the price of a meal, but making love to another man's wife will cost you everything." Wisdom will protect you from the smooth talk of a sinful woman. That is stated in Proverbs chapter 2 verse 16 to 19. The Bible says, "If you love wisdom, your parents will be glad. But chasing after bad women will cost you everything." No wonder when you see somebody rich today and tomorrow they say, "A woman wrecked him." People will be surprised, how did it happen? But the Bible is saying, stop chasing after bad women, because it will always come to the point where you can no longer go back. You'll just be regretting all your life. He said, be cheerful and enjoy life while you're young. Do what you want and find pleasure in what you see. But don't forget that God will judge you for everything you do. You know, young people have so much strength to do anything. We want to enjoy life to the fullest. But the Bible says, go ahead and do it. But don't forget that everything will be brought to judgment. If you are tried on the last day, can your judgment stand the fire? Will it be purified as gold, or will it be burnt like chaff? The Bible says, keep your Creator in mind while you are young. In days to come, you'll be burdened down with troubles and say, I don't enjoy life anymore, because that time will surely come. But now that you're young is the right time to serve God. It is not the right time to chase after bad women. But chasing after God is rewarding, is benefiting.